Alright guys, ever since I put on my SP Concepts 2-to-1 exhaust here, I've had this dumb bracket laying around with a foot peg on it. It is finally time to relocate the rear passenger pegs of my Harley Street Bob. Alright everybody, what is up? What is up? As always, thanks for stopping by to another video today. Today we are taking a look at a little relocation of some passenger pegs on my 2022 Harley Davidson Street Bob. So if you guys have ever swapped out your exhaust for a 2-to-1 on your softail, you are probably familiar with this bracket right here. This is the stock exhaust bracket that was previously right here on my Street Bob. So when you go ahead with your 2-to-1, in most cases you basically have to remove this because this is where the 2-to-2 exhaust mufflers were mounted to, and this bracket was mounted right back down in here. So once you swap out to a 2-to-1, you don't need this anymore. But the thing that happens when you take this bracket off, as you can see right here, your rear passenger peg is mounted to that bracket. So I don't ride with a passenger hole often, but I do kind of want to keep the symmetry of the bike. We got the passenger peg over there. I kind of want to put the peg over here just for some of those cases where I do ride with a passenger. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to relocate both of these. We'll hop over to the other side in just a minute. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this passenger peg off of this bracket. There's a place where you can relocate it to right here. We're going to take a little bit closer look at this. Basically, we're going to pop this rear passenger peg right into here, and we're going to flip over to the other side and show you how to do the same thing on the other side so that the passenger pegs are both intact and they are both in the same location on the bike for the passenger. Alrighty guys, so we have our bracket here. One of the first things we're going to have to do is remove the actual peg itself to get down into the bracket because it screws right into the bracket through here, and we have to get through it through this little peg that comes out from the bracket. So to do that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to probably want some snap ring pliers. You can see a close up right here. You're going to want to get down in, remove this snap ring. That'll get your pin out, and then we'll be able to remove the peg. Of course, you want to be very careful not to lose that thing as you're pulling it off, but your snap ring pliers should help you just take that thing right off, set it off to the side. Now here's where we want to start to be a little bit careful. So when we slide this pin out of here, the mechanism in here that locks the peg in place consists of a little ball and a spring. I'm sure many people have lost this thing before, but as we start to slide this out of here, we're going to want to be very careful that we keep the ball and spring because that's what helps maintain that opening and closing locking mechanism right there. So you're going to go ahead, slide your pin out right here. Now this is where we want to start to be a little bit careful. Ideally, we might be able to get that whole little piece out together. That would be ideal, that we could just slide it back in when we're ready. So you can see what I mean there. Luckily, we got this bracket piece to come out with it. The ball and spring are still in there. So we will set this off to the side, and now we'll be ready to move the actual mount for the foot peg. So for that, you're gonna want a long T40 Torx bit because that screw is down in there quite a ways. So you're gonna need a longer bit to get down in there, but as long as you have one of those, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Alrighty, so that'll kind of let you see where that screw is gonna come out of. That's what we're going to use to replace it into the new location on the frame of the Street Bob. Alrighty, so we've got our bracket here removed that we're just going to pop right back onto the frame. Now the next thing to keep in mind here is you're going to have to remove this little plastic piece that's going to open up the hole to where we can put the bracket in now that we're relocating it, and we'll be able to cover up the old hole with that piece so we don't have any ugly screw openings like that down there. So we're going to grab a knife and pop this out. So very carefully, we just want to work our way around. We don't want to scratch the frame or anything like that. Hopefully we can get this thing popped out nice and easy. Alrighty, so we've got that placeholder out of here now, and then we can basically just go ahead and screw it into that other opening down behind the pipe here. Alrighty, so we have that replaced now. We're good to go to start remounting the peg bracket to the new location. Alrighty, so as you can see, we've got the bracket on now. Now next steps, all we really have to do is go ahead and slide the peg in there, put the snap ring back on, and we should be good to go. Then we can get over to the other side. I do like to give the snap ring just a little bit of a squeeze with like a needle nose here, just to make sure we are fully on tight and locked in. We don't want anything rattling or falling off here. And so there we have it. That side has been relocated and remounted. Seams locked in nice and tight, nice and stable. Good to go. Keep them flipped up for now, but we'll go ahead and get over to the other side now. All right, guys, so we're over on the other side now. Basically similar to identical process. We're going to remove that plastic insert right there. We will remove the actual peg. We will get down into the bracket, remove this, relocate it up here, and then we should be good to go. Pretty simple project you guys can work on if you need to remove your foot pegs or anything like that. Pretty simple as you can see so far. So let's get working on this side now and we'll have this thing wrapped up. Alrighty, so just like on the other side, we went ahead and started off by removing that snap ring. Again, make sure we keep track of that. Let's go ahead and slide this pin out. That'll give us access to get the actual peg off of the bracket. Again, if you can get this silver piece to come out with you, that's going to be ideal because then you're not going to risk losing the ball and spring that are in there. And then next up, you're grabbing your long T40 Torx bit. We're going to slide it right down into the bracket to where it catches there and then loosen it right up. And then again, let's try to pry out this little plastic screw here. Plastic screws out. Simply go ahead and replace it down to that opening. All right, so we're ready to get the foot peg bracket back on with our T40 Torx bit. We're just gonna keep going ahead until we tighten it up right into the open hole we created by removing the plastic. Alrighty, we are nice and tight there. Next step, we're getting closer. We're just gonna pop the peg back into the bracket, of course. And then from here, we're taking our pin, getting everything lined up, pushing that pin through. Next up, you're grabbing that snap ring and you're gonna pop it right on and we should be all set. Alright, so there we go. Snap ring is back on. Just give it a few pulls and pushes, make sure we're locked in there tight, make sure it flips up and down, stays in place, and that's it. That's all we got right there. We've got both of the foot pegs now relocated into the same spot. That's a pretty simple, easy, and quick one you guys can do if you ever have to. If you ever put a 2-to-1 on and you want your pegs even, that's something you're probably gonna have to take care of. All right, guys, so as you saw there, pretty quick and easy, simple change of the rear passenger pegs there. If you guys ever put a 2-to-1 pipe on your softail street bob or any softail really, process is gonna be pretty much kind of the same because you have to remove that stock bracket and then you can relocate your pegs to make sure that they are symmetrical on there. If you don't ride with a passenger, heck, you might just leave them off. But I wanted to keep it the same on both sides and symmetrical. So that's really all I got for you today. If you guys have done that relocation or if you have any questions about it, feel free to drop them down in the comments. If this helped you out at all, feel free to let me know. But we will go ahead and wrap it up for now. As always, make sure you guys ride safe out there. Make it a good one, guys. It's the Moto Jawn. We'll see you all on down the road. Peace.